How are you feeling about the next few months?
Well, look, challenging as everything else. We've gone past the hype of the crisis, we think and we hope, although, we're always keeping a watching brief. We've had to readjust all of our plans like everyone else. We've been supported by magnificent partners, including MediaCom. We're very proud of the way that we work together. There's some really strong plans, and the focus for us will be to really offer relevant value to our customers as we go into what everyone seems to think is going to be a very tough financial situation for our customers overall. Yeah. So that's our primary focus today forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Always putting the customer first, which is all the Tesco.
Like that. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So with Sumac Chicken, obviously it was an ad about a family during Ramadan. So how did you decide on this execution of Food Love Stories during lockdown?
So it's interesting, and I think I'll go just slightly backwards to then Food Love Story being the campaign, and why did we think it would be helpful? Yeah. The campaign had been running for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And we thought we had quite a good system about this campaign. We know it inside out. We know what works, what doesn't work. We had a kind of a formula, even though it's not a formula, to make it work. What was really interesting, we found ourselves at a time of great constraints where shooting an ad was really, really constrained by social distancing and lockdown and permission to actually work, where the ability to show amazing food was also very constrained, the ability to cast, to have the talent was very constrained, the ability to only be able to shoot things in homes, whatever the homes looked like, and not, somehow beautified by for advertising license, actually made us a lot more creative. And that's the time when we felt the campaign could really grow and flourish in a way. So we were really delighted with, and we had a rhythm, and every week you mentioned we did more than one. We did, I didn't count them, but I think we've done 10 or 12 ads since lockdown. About one a week for the first 12 weeks. And literally the rhythm was brief on a Tuesday or Monday night or Tuesday night, and then by Friday go on air, or brief on a Thursday and then by the following week go on air, depending on it. Was always involved, unfortunately, weekend work through the clock. So enormously grateful to MediaCom for sure for helping us with those media plans that were undone and done continuously, but also BBH, who worked so wonderfully with us during the lockdown. So back to Food Love Story, we're really creative about different ways to show how you prepare the food you love for the people you love.
Yeah.
From dedicating it to people you can't be with a Food Love Story dedication, to showing how Easter roast lamb can be cooked via Zoom, because suddenly your grandmother is not there to make it for you, and showing the whole family how to do it, to then coming to events like Ramadan. So Ramadan is an event that's really important for many of our customers, in certain parts of the countries especially. And normally we would celebrate it with ad hoc local marketing activities. But we thought, because of Ramadan and what it means for people, and the importance of food at the end of the day, and the importance of family to enjoy and share into that food at the end of the day, that people who had to celebrate Ramadan were really quite impacted. And we wanted to show how we could be close to them and help. So Sumac Auntie, not so regular chicken, the way it should be made. It was an amazing story, because we found these 3 brothers. They're really brothers. They live together in London, sharing the day with the food with their auntie, makes some of the special, and suddenly they had to make it themselves from memory. And so everything that you see in the ad is actually true. They were asking, or not so asking, go from memory and bantering between the 3 of them about who had the better memory for how to make the recipe. And they were really proud at the end of it to show it to their auntie, and then promise that the next one they could probably show in reality to her and taste it together. And as a production, it was quite tricky, because we had to find the 3 brothers. We didn't have to find 3 brothers. We wanted to find a couple of people living together, a household living together, not being able to share in with who they normally would do it. It was their real home, both the outside and inside of their home. And of course, they didn't know how to cook. And so we were partly helping them a little bit with some of the food shot that we prepared with a home economist, like the finished dish, so that it would look beautiful on screen. But they truly cooked it, and they truly kind of argued about how much chili or whether it was coriander or colander that they had to use. So everything that you see there is actually genuine, and we had lots of fun with them to make it, and we were really, really proud. Most of all, we were truly appreciated by colleagues and by customers, because it was a sense of showing the reality of what was going on in the country, showing how we could be of help. Of course, you could be linking to the recipe online, where you find all of the recipes that we feature in Food Love Stories, so people could actually do the recipes they wanted to.
And I think that authenticity comes across so well, doesn't it? I mean, that was one of my questions for you, really. It's like, I was assuming they were brothers because they were all in a house together, kind of hugging each other during lockdown. So, but it's got a real authenticity to it. And I think the fact that it was a real situation for them, what a brilliant thing to be able to communicate in an ad at that moment.
Well, it's one of the things we've learned by having to shoot like this. So we've done the Ramadan, we've done Father's Day, we've done barbecue that's just come out. In all instances, we went to real families and real households, because we couldn't cast people that looked like families, but they weren't. They were not all actors. Some of them are actors, some of them aren't. We started to actually shoot. One of the things that worked really well, as we learned all along, was Father's Day ad. We shot it with father and daughter. That's the real home, but he's a director of photography, so he's actually shooting himself. And unlike the very first attempt, you see that the lighting is very good, and the shots and the cropping is very good. All throughout lockdown, we shot using Zoom, and the talent were directed through Zoom by the director at the agency, and they were shooting themselves on their phones or laptops, just like we're doing now. And that's been very tricky, because it adds a double complication to be natural and authentic in your delivery. So actually using talent and know how to hold a camera and know about lighting has really helped, but it's narrowed a little bit the way that we cast, and it's been fantastic. We've learned so much about shooting in lockdown, which I think is a piece in itself.
I mean, it looked really, really good as well. I mean, the fact that it was shot on a mobile phone, I just find staggering in a way, because it looks really, really good. I mean, what's the response been like to this campaign? Because I think that authenticity, really connects with people. How's it gone down?
Well, I was really proud. There was a couple of articles, one in Campaign and one that we read from another magazine, about some Muslim commentators, in the creative world, who appreciated how modern, authentic and contemporary and realistic the depiction of Ramadan in lockdown looked. And probably that's the bit that I feel really happy about, because there was one focus, one objective. We really wanted to make sure that we did our very best to look authentic. Of course, we had consulted with our colleagues internally. We have many colleagues in our main network and in our stores who are celebrating Ramadan with very strong networks. So we made sure throughout the production, the script, the production, casting, the home, and the post-production, that they would tell us if there was anything that wasn't authentic, that was not done in the way that it should be done. Lots of conversations about that. So I was happy that was well received. Customers equally on social media told us how they felt, with all the nuances, and it's particularly relevant these days. So we had a lot of positive feedback from customers who truly appreciated recognition, reflecting their habits, and actually being shown in a contemporary way.
What's the, you've talked a little bit about all the challenges in production, and what have you learned, and how do you think this learning through lockdown is going to change how you approach communications and campaigns in the future?
It has worked really well for us. I think it has come at a lot of personal cost from many people working through the clock. And that's probably something we wouldn't want to take through, although it's very addictive, and it's quite nice to have a rhythm where you create from brief to execution in a space of a week, sometimes hours, and then 2 weeks when you take your time. I think we've learned a lot of things. Strategically, we've learned about the importance of the clarity of the brief. Is it new? Have we learned anything new? No, but funnily enough, the clear brief really helps. And if you're really clear about what you're trying to achieve, it helps everyone create around it very strongly. The idea that we could have a very short cycle between brief and response, and the strategic thinking and the creative thinking being much tighter together. The idea that you can be brave. We've decided to accept things that before maybe we wouldn't have accepted. Oh my God, what do you mean shooting on Zoom and not having the proper food and not having the proper camera? All of that felt okay, although I don't think that's how you should do it all the time, but it was okay at the time. And the idea that production-wise you can be a lot more agile and find creative solution. Again, I'm so proud of how the entirety of BBH and all of the people that work with BBH have worked to find creative solution. That's something we want to hang on to. We want to be turning around things quicker. And the reason why I think it's important is because we were able to be on top of the insight of what was happening every week with our customers, not behind by 6 months. And so while there's an awful lot to be said for good planning, by the way, because you do waste less time and money in many other ways, I do think the fact that you could really be reactive and proactive about what was going on in the moment was a real was something that we really, really appreciated, and customers seem to recognise as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the agile ways, agility and working in a more agile way, got to be something that sustains beyond this period of time. But as you say, probably a combination of more forward planning, but also doing things in a much more agile way is certainly something that we think we're going to be doing much more of as we move forwards now.
It's something we need to learn together. We've discussed it, how we can learn from each other as well. So I think agility is the right way to describe it. So agility means both being a bit nimbler, being a bit more flexible, ability to react, but also some of the planning helps, as I said, because you don't want that to be at a personal cost of people not sleeping, not having time off. Yeah,
it's a little bit daunting to think that we would have to work like this at breakneck speed for the rest of our lives, isn't it? Okay, brilliant. Look, thank you. That was so brilliant to delve into the Food Love Stories work, and amazing that you've produced 12 campaigns I think it's 12. Now I'm trying to count in my mind. I hope nobody will count it. Well, no, there's some also, but in truth, there's some we've shot that we haven't had. They didn't turn out. So there's some hit and miss there, but entirely understandable, and we're fine with that. Listen, Ale, thank you so much for your time today. Brilliant to talk to you about your campaigns. Thanks for sharing all of your thoughts with us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
If we can't go to Auntie's to break fast, let's go pursue that chicken ourselves. Bro, I asked you for the coriander, bro. This is a colander. And that's a lot of chili, you know.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Just trust me.
We call her up and ask her, maybe.
Listen, we ain't calling Auntie. We got this. Come on.
Yes, man done well, innit?
Ramadan Mubarak!
Auntie, look, we cooked a special sumac chicken.
Oh, that's amazing.
When we're back together, we're going to cook it for you.
Food Love Stories, brought to you by Tesco.